It's Margaret, Kerry, and Tinkerbell at large. And my last show, there was a group of people that gathered around who wanted to know about working with the Lone Ranger. And I have to tell you, we got more stories, and I said, tell everybody, because it's just fun. Well, first of all, I will start in to say, I was about 18, I guess, 17, and all of us who were maybe 12 years old to about 17, who were trying to work in the movies and get jobs in the movies, would lie to everybody in a book about this big, and it was a directory of young actors. And we would tell them we could do anything. We could fly to the moon. I put down, I could swim, I could ride a horse, I could run a mile in 10 seconds. It doesn't matter, you would just lie about it. So I got this call from a dear, dear lady. Oh, she was just a sweetheart. And she said, we'd like to talk to you about the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger, my hero. Yeah, he's the Lone Ranger. So I said, well, of course, I would be delighted to come and talk to you. And we went to, it was made on the show was made what they call on a shoestring. I went to the set, but the set was the whole sound stage, and they had 5 sets in it. The office, the outside, the horses, they're all in the same set, so that they could just take the camera and swing around. Well, of course, I was fascinated. And they said, you're going to play Jane Carter, and your dad is in trouble. And so I stood there and I looked over at the horses and I said, I have to tell you, I don't know how to ride a horse. And I figured I'd get fired right then. I said, they said, I'll tell you what, do you know how to dismount? I said, oh, I know how to dismount. Yes, you're in. So I won't tell you about the costume mistake at the beginning. It's too long. I'll tell you another time. But anyway, I got the job, and I was Jane Carter, and I came up against the bad guys, and the Lone Ranger helped me. And there was a time when movies were made with all of the old timers on the tech, setting up the lights, old timers. And some of them had a mouth on them that you wouldn't believe. Well, Clayton Moore, the dear, dear man, along with Jay Silverheels, Tonto, would call me over to chat with me while they were rearranging the lighting, so I wouldn't have to listen to all of that yucky talk that they had. I thought he was wonderful. He was a wonderful fellow. They both were. They were so kind to me. And I'll tell you one other thing before I go, that some of the sets that they made for cowboys in those days, they had the doorway shorter than a regular doorway. So a cowboy star standing in the doorway looked about 6 inches taller than he was. You hardly ever see a Western where you see the star walk in wearing his hat. He always takes off his hat first and then puts it back on, because they've had some problems with that. Those are things that I learned in my 92 years in show business. I just turned 96, and I'm still just as excited about it as I ever was. That's all in my book, Tinkerbell Talks. You could get it from my website, tinkerbelltalks.com, or come to my shows. And I get to say, no, Dad, he's the Lone Ranger. Here's pixie dust.